Hello and good morning from New York City. I often receive questions from pianists asking me how to resolve problems in specific passages using the Taubman approach. This has inspired me to put together a new video series called Inside Edna Studio, where I will cover a wide array of topics in the Taubman approach that I encounter every week in my teaching. The videos will be posted on my YouTube channel, and you will be able to find the link to them in the details of this video. I'm very much looking forward to sharing this new series with you and invite you to tune in. One of the questions that I have received comes from Mozart, K322, first movement, measures 86 to 92. And the question is, how to do those trills easily? With what fingering? And do I need in and out motions? Also, how to play those left configurations fast without stretching? So talking about how to do trills faster, we go into rotation, single rotation, meaning the forearm is turning left and the forearm is turning right. This is doing it very big, so you can see as it goes into the technique, making it smaller and smaller. The important thing is to keep it synchronized, meaning that as we go like that back and forth, the arm is not just flailing around, it's always remaining on the left when I play the second finger, on the right when I play the third finger. This goes to 1, 2, or any fingering. 1, 3, and also 3, 4. And that's the fingering, of course, that many pianists avoid because the fourth finger doesn't feel that stable or strong. But the moment the forearm, you're lined up properly, and the forearm gives its support to each finger, that finger feels just as strong as the other fingers. The weakness comes from isolating it. By itself, any finger does not feel strong, even if we try to develop muscles and so on. Years of doing that, the fourth finger and the fifth finger often would still feel weak. The weakness comes from a lack of connection. The moment you connect it, work on it a little bit. Now, when I say and minimize it and all of that, those things have to happen with a teacher. That's when they are put in a way that ensures success. You know, it's not a general, it's very specific kind of motion. The same goes for 4, 5. It's not the greatest fingering for trilling because you have a long finger and a short finger, one next to each other, but it's worthwhile to develop it as well in case something happens and these are the only fingers that are available. As for the question, what fingering would I use here? I would use 3, 4. It's right there. People often avoid it, so they do maybe 3, 5, but it feels quite crunched, crowded, or maybe something like that with a crossing. You can do it, but this is the easiest. It's right there. Now, about in and out. We start about in the middle of the white key. When we do that, the thumb is off the keyboard. So there is a little bit of a little forward, little ins. You see my other fingers are releasing, so they never stay curled. And then coming out to the fifth finger. So again, like this, forward. But that's not the end. There's a shape to it. In the Taubman approach, the shaping are the small curved lines that go very specifically from finger to finger, kind of put together everything into one organism. So here between 3 and 4, it's a little under shape. Coming back is an over shape, all the way to the thumb, and a little under shape here. It immediately minimizes the movements. But what I would say that when we come from a chord, since motions continue regardless of long notes, rests, and so on, when I turn, this is a double rotation, when I turn, if I just turn sideways, I end up inside. I'm here. That's not the best place to be when we're playing all white keys. So just by going to the middle of the white key, there's already an out. It's a rotation. The second part of the rotation has an out. But most of the time, if you just turn and tell yourself, land in the middle of the white key, you're in the right place. So this is a little bit of an out, and then having the rest. As for the left hand, when we talk about how to play these figures, in other words, having an arpeggiated type of a passage without stretching. So the stretching would be if I'm already preparing and I'm on every note, that's already a stretch. Now, when you stretch, you can feel immediately that there's tension. Also, it's hard for the fingers to move down. When the fingers, and when they're curled, it's almost impossible. There's so much tension when we do that. So if you let the fingers like that, and you want to feel very fast and facile, and for the fingers to move quickly, you can see the fingers move very quickly this way. Not when they're straight, not when they curl, they move very straight. And the motion that takes them from finger to finger is the rotation. You know, that's your quick motion. You have the combination of quick finger motion and quick movement from finger to finger, moving across. So this is a single, double, double, single, single, double, double. And again, added to that a little bit of a shape. 4 notes over shape, little under shape from 1 to 5, bringing you right over there and starting another over shape. I would like to raise one other issue here, which is we have to decide how many notes do we want in the trill. So if you have, let's say, the speed is about, and I find that to be enough. If you want, sometimes we think that we should fit as many notes as possible. When you hear beautiful playing, you hear very clear trills. And if you listen to them, they're not so many, they're just beautifully played. So it's not a question how many, it's what would fit into this space of time and what would make it sound really good, elegant. So what I'm doing, really 5 notes, that's all I'm doing. And you can divide them like a triplet, 2 notes into a triplet and then together. And that's what it sounds like. So these are my suggestions to make this easier to play. Here is another question from a piece called Inbound. And the question is, it's hard to understand how to play it in speed. I know double rotation for double notes, the in-out, but how to approach it in the first place when you see it, how to think. Also, when to cross hands and other possibilities without crossing hands if possible. So the writer is right. When we have double notes, 2, 3. Okay, so what happens when I do that? It starts as a single rotation to here. It's a double rotation to here, but I wonder if the issue comes when we cross. because how do we cross quickly? Right here. So what happens is we have single to a double. Now in regular single note crossing, we go left and then right. But intervals, in order to be balanced equally on both, any number of fingers, have to be played to the left. The moment you do it this way, it comes out like that, and there's a feeling of being off balance. The arm is not landing equally on both fingers. So you start as you would do a single rotation over a scale, but instead of going to the right, you play to the left. So what is it? It's left, 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 left. That's what happens. And clearly, I cannot connect it. So when you go from here to here, let go. This is how you cross it. There's no way to connect here, which is what we do normally in scales and arpeggios. So what happens here, and I marked it there, I didn't mark the in and out going from the fifth finger because it can be done in two ways. It can start a little bit more at the edge and go forward and forward. Or you can start here and go out and then go in, like this. Whichever one feels easier to you, may be easier to do this. Now, when I cross, you see when I don't curl, my fingers are a little bit in the black key area. So either I curl, which again is one of the basic reasons for tension and often pain. So there's a little bit of an out here. Out, and then a little bit in, bringing the arm into the thumb, into the keyboard. And same thing here. Out, in, out, in, out, in. Together with that, there's a little bit of a shape, meaning this gets a little bit, you start level, gets a little bit higher, a little bit lower, a little bit higher, a little bit lower. So in the Taubman language, we would say from here to here to here is one overshape. From here to here is another overshape, since the last note of one shape is the first note also of the next shape. There are no breaks. We don't finish here, and this is another shape. They are related. So this is an overshape. This is an out, an overshape again. So what one can do is simply, to make it simpler, I come a little bit down, I come out a little bit higher and down, a little bit higher and down. Now, doing this fingering makes it possible not to have to cross, because you can just take this in the left hand, starts as a single rotation, ends as a double, single to here, double to here. And also there is an out, little forward, little in, little in. So no need to cross. Coming up. So again, you see where when I don't curl my fingers, they touch a little bit the blacky area, move a little bit out, bringing the, as I move out, the thumb is a little bit off the keyboard. So I move back in, out, back in. This is out, this is, I'll talk about it in a second because that has to do again with the shaping. So coming out, going from here to here to here, the three notes, getting higher and lower, that's an overshape. This is an overshape. So that's what happens with the coursing, is again, it's a double, and again, I can't connect here between here and here. But it can sound pretty connected, you know, especially when shaping is involved. This shaping is very influenced by context. Where you're coming from, where you're going to. So here, you know, I'm constantly going just one note out, one note in, one out, one in. But this thing, I can't do that. The arm needs to get over to here and come back, which constitutes an undershape from here to here. This is the beginning, the end of one shape. Think about an undershape, it goes like that. Comes a little bit down and then comes a little bit up. and connect to the next shape. This is also the first note of the overshape. If I'm doing this. And so it goes to here, from here to here is another shape, another shape. But the easiest way to think it when you come back is out and higher, in and lower, out and higher, in and lower. Here's a question about the fugue from Bach Prelude and Fugue from the Well-Tempered Clavier, number 6 in D minor. And the question is, in measure 20, I want to know how to play the trill with more ease. I start the trill with the upper note C and use fingers 1 and 2 to trill on C and B. I play 3 notes in the trill per 16th note. The trill is easy itself, but when I also have to play the bass notes with my 5th finger in the left hand, I feel some tension. So what he's saying is that he's starting on the upper note, 3 notes, then 3 more notes. So the trill by itself, this person clearly has been trained with the Taubman approach, left, right, no problem. But when we add the interval, there's an issue. So there are really 2 issues here. First of all, when you go, the first question to me is, how many notes do I put in the space of time? I think that 3 are too much, but let me show you how you do it anyway. So you do this, then you're going here. It's one of those what we call hybrids. Again, it starts as a single rotation, but in playing the interval, we can't play it to the left. It's off balance. So we move, the arm moves a little bit over, gets a little bit higher, and invisibly balance a little bit toward the thumb side. Toward the thumb side, to the right, but playing, the arm comes down equally behind both fingers. So I let go, I'm higher. So that's one way. Now, it's not an absolute rule that you always have to start with the upper note. So what I'm doing is 2 notes for every 16 notes. This is 1, I let go. So what is different here? First of all, in my opinion, it's enough notes. Second of all, when I go from here to here, for going from here to here is closer than if I do the 3 notes and I go from here to a larger interval. In both cases, I have to disconnect a little bit and I'm higher here. But again, going from here to here is much closer than going from here to here. And it's not a crowded kind of trill, which I personally don't like. I like it to sound clear, just the right number of notes so that it sounds musical rather than I'm trying to fit as many notes as possible. The other thing maybe to think also, however you end up doing this, with however many notes, is to feel this is one groove, this is another groove, or another groove. It gives it a nice start, going from a single note, from less weight to more weight, usually necessitates a feeling of a new start. The arm can balance over it and frees up the mechanism.